What's up, guys? We're gonna build beats. I'm gonna be showing you guys how to make some 90s R&B chords. If you guys haven't subbed our radio terms, I'm to do so. It goes up a lot. Let's hop right into it. So BPM, typically around 90 BPM for like 90 stuff. So we will be working in 90 BPM. Okay, and then we just have a piano right here, just a simple little piano on mellow noise. Okay, so we'll just be focusing on the chords because I will be making some 90s, like some old school stuff. So I want to make sure everyone knows how to at least make the chords, so I don't have to explain things in detail. So let's grab in a scale. Let's do A sharp minor, and let's get started. Okay, so first up, we want to find a bass line or a leading tone. Now, I like the leading tone, and pretty much a leading tone simply is just your melody. Whatever, right? And then the bass line method would be if you just made a chord, pull the note down, and then you just kind of pull these until you found something that you like. And that is how you can find a quick harmony. And you can use this if you want, but the reason I say use the melody method is because you'll get a more creative combo of chords that way, rather than this generic like method, right? So we can start on the root, and you can kind of teeter around the root if you want to like move the root over. Don't be afraid to use the root later, so you can do something like this. I don't like this. Okay, we could use that for our chord progression. So that will be like our leading tone, and I'm gonna cut it there so it's simple. So that is our leading tone or melody. That is the first step. Let's move on to the second. Okay, so now we're gonna build chords from this. So there are two ways, and I've shown these before. So basically what you would do is make a chord upward or downward or both. So for this we would go down, but I'll just show you the method. So if you don't know how to make a chord from like a note, basically you skip every other note within the scale. Within the scale are these white lines right here that you see. So it will be skip this note, place, skip that note, place. And you can do this backwards, just like this. Or you could do it upwards and backwards. So you can go skip this note, place, reset, skip this note, place. Okay, so you can use those three methods to find, you know, a chord that you like. So with this, since these are leading tones and they're supposed to kind of be like the melody, we can use the down method. So for 90s chords, I would say don't go any less than 5, maybe 4 to 5 notes, okay, within your chord. So we're gonna go down, so that's 2 notes, 3, 4, and then 5. Same here, just go down. Oops. Okay, and one more. Let me shrink it. Let's play it. Oops. Okay, and then you may have to adjust your notes as well. I think this sounds pretty good. If we want to, we can probably fill it out even more. Okay, and if you want to, you see this F. If we want this to be a little bit more in harmony, if we pull this up an octave and then pull this back down, and you could probably delete this. Well, let's see how it sounds first. That it's a little bit easier on the ears now since we have this like in harmony. Okay, so at this point, what we would do, we could just make some bass notes. Okay, so now what we're gonna do next is fill this out. All right, so now what we want to do is find some other chords to use, because right now we're in trap beat syndrome where we just use the same chords over and over and over again, which is fine, but you gotta think, like a lot of these songs are made by like real professional pianists, right? So they would play like a whole chord progression, not just 2 chords back to back, right? And I'm sure there's times when it happened, but typically they probably play like a full you know, piece or whatever. So we want to find another lead tone. So and then you want to kind of listen to what note you want to hear next. So that could be any note. So oops. So if you want something like that, put those notes in. For me, I kind of want to go up. Okay, so we could just copy these over. So those are my leading tones. And I'm gonna literally cut it there because I want people to be able to click on the video. So I'm gonna cut it there and then we can come back and I'll show you how to build chords and some tricks and stuff. Okay, so from here, I'm gonna show you a few tricks that you could do with this. Now, if you want to, you can just do this. If you really don't care and you're like, look, I just want these chords down, you could do something like this and usually it'll sound good. Okay, but it sounds a little off, okay? So what I like to do to keep it fresh, I'll delete this. And what I would do is go off of this last chord that we had. Okay, so whatever chord is right here, if we want to go up, so in your head, if you're like, okay, wait. So if in your head, you kind of like, oh, I want the chords to go up on the next one. What you would do is from this bottom part, you would basically put it in between, or you can go higher, but it's gonna kind of overlap, and you would make chords like this. Okay. Now if you want to go down, pretty much you would do something like this. So you wouldn't go down, right? Just to make it clear, you wouldn't go down like this. You could if you want to. You can kind of mess around and get some like really cool chords, right? But what I would do is go down. So maybe like we could try this and do something like that. Right, you can get some really beautiful chords like that. Okay, and then why this sounds so good is because we have these leading tones here, kind of, I guess, keeping it in harmony, even though it's technically not in the chord like that. It is, but it's not like a part of like the actual chord like that. I'm gonna keep this. I really like this one. And then over here, if you want to, you could just do this. All right, same method. Okay, or you could also do something like this where you can drag this over to keep like the same harmony. And then what you can do, and I'm not gonna go into music theory, but you can skip 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, place. 1, 2, 3, 4, place. And then we could do one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, place. And you can get some cool chords that way. Okay, and I like both, so I'm gonna just redo this because I really like this chord. It sounds really good. Okay, and then we'll just have to add that bass in somewhere, but we can do that in the next part. So let's go ahead and we'll like edit the velocity and tie up loose ends. Okay, so at this point, we're just tying up loose ends, adding in the notes that we need. We're not gonna be making a melody with it because we're just focused on making the chords. And I have tricks that you can use for that. Like you can take the mid notes and use those for melodies. So this is our chord progression. This is just a slight variation, but this is our bass chord progression. So for this last bass note, what you could do is take the bass of the next chord, and you could just stretch that across. Now, due to how our bass line is, we don't really need to do this because it plays right here, so we can just leave this in. Okay, you can see it works over here too. So at this point, what you would do is if you want it to sound a little bit better, you want to edit the velocity and the what is this, like you want to strum the chords. Okay, so I don't like to go here and go to strum because it's too robotic. What I like to do is actually, and I'll just do it real time real quick and I'll fast forward. So I'll leave the bass here and you can pick notes like this, and then what I like to do is just use the shift and scroll wheel like this and just kind of scroll them across, just so it's not perfect, right? And if you want to go even further, you can. And it's just more realistic that way. And then from there, you can literally just edit the velocity however you want. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'll just show the whole thing at the end. Okay, so real quick, what I'm gonna do, this is like tying up loose ends, so I am going to add one more here because I want it to kind of flam a bit right here. So just adding that in. Okay, so here's the full thing. It's not perfect. I just wanted to kind of give you an example of what I mean. So here's the velocity. You can see the things I did. So now we just play the whole thing. All right, and you can of course add other tones and notes up here if you want, but this is pretty much the breakdown. That's gonna be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.